All right, let's get going. Hey, I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm ready. Uh, I'm gonna talk about thinking today. Some of you guys act like it hurt for you to think. Professional thinkers. Now, when I embarked on my journey to become a great thinker, I was confident that I had the tools that would allow me to see it through. Now, I started out hard and kept going hard, and I still go hard. Once I became a great thinker, I was able to keep all my efforts A plus. But my enthusiasm started straying. My zeal for things to be 100 all the time. It started boring me. After being in the game, and meeting so many different kind of professional people, educators and the like, I spoke to a friend that I had for about 25 years. And this was a close friend at one time, but sadly we drifted apart. But when we spoke about this, he told me some really interesting things. I explained what was going on, that I somehow had lost my intensity for writing. And I let him know that I'm not suicidal or nothing, although I'm attacking, you know, my shit in life with gusto. I wait until the last minute, and that makes me be in a rush to complete the shit. My friend is a reserved man, and he calmly said, "Man, that's what happened to a lot of great thinkers. When something they're studying comes to an end or is coming to an end, their mind tries to rebel. You don't want to stop thinking about it because you're a great thinker, but you do want a conclusion. Now, you can't get that conclusion unless you continue to the very end. So, your mind is making sure you really want what you're after. Now, if you have the slightest doubt, if you got the slightest doubt in what you're doing, you might stop. Or if it's a project, you might get a low grade for the course. See, he told me all this, and believe me, what he said was important. But this is the thing about life and thinking about shit. Whether what he said was true or not, that's not what's important. What's true and important is what I took from what his statement was. Now, if you don't have the right motivation for what you're doing, it's not going to get done as well as it could be done. Now, I believe so wholeheartedly in what I do. I thought my full passion for it was, automatic. Because I know if I'm faking, I'm only faking on myself. And, I'm serious about Sidewalk University and what comes of it. I'm in the second month of this current class, and I'm learning quite a bit. If you want in, you can do it for the price of $100. For that $100, you would be enrolling in a monthly platinum subscription, but you have access to my entire library along with 4 15-minute one-on-one calls. Now, the $50 subscribes you to the gold level, and it comes with 2 monthly one-on-one calls, and those conversation tools are available to you. What my sidewalk you thinkific.com, what the course, you know, is doing, since it's totally online. It's online now, and you won't need to deal with getting embarrassed if you're messing up or if you mess up. Because, the way I was doing my class, if you mess up, you mess it up in front of a bunch of dudes. You see, learning something is ultra cool, but it does not automatically give you the answers to the obstacles you're going to be faced in life. They're going to definitely come to you. So, my confidence course teaches you to be prepared for whatever comes to you. And the only way you can do that is by being true to yourself. You can fool me and you can fool most people, but you cannot fool yourself. See, I really want to be down with this fucking shit I'm talking. And what my friend told me made me see that we all need to constantly refocus our goals to stay true to ourselves. What you're doing that's important is committing to something and being serious about it 24/7, 365. And you're going to go hard till you get it. See, I often talk about the lion's life. In my opinion, we all should be living along the lines of how lions think. To me, I give some seriously strong advice. And after doing a show that's informative, I, not always, but sometimes I get a lot of questions. It's because so many points I make in the stories that I tell have merit in your life now. Those of you who enroll or have studied my course, you're going to be able to hear the gems, all the gems that I have for you. You're going to be able to hear them because of the new thinking you're going to possess. A lot of you are satisfied with only having a few pieces to the puzzle. And if that makes you feel that you're in the mix, cool. Having a few pieces of the puzzle only allows you to risk your life thinking that little bit of information you have is going to help you survive. These videos I make in the Abba you get from Sidewalk University. Caller, what's up? Man, I'm doing good, bro. How about you? hold on. Listen, that's what you do this shit for because you going to weed people out of your life. They're not necessary and they're actually a hindrance from you progressing. That's why they pop up in your mind to weed out. Because when you're being totally honest with yourself and you're thinking about shit, you're gonna naturally think about who's wasting your time. You know what people in my life are a waste of time, and some of your friends that you fuck with, you might have to cut them loose. Let me explain something to you, bro. Bro, I hate to keep cutting you off, but let me explain something. You can't limit yourself unless you limit yourself. What I'm saying is honesty does not set a high standard. It actually makes you even with the floor. Dishonesty is below the doggone floor. And dishonesty takes away, but you want to be at floor level or higher. So there is no more honesty than being 100% honest with yourself. You just said something that's very important, man, because if you're not selfish and conceited enough, you're just not going to be happy. The world is not going to allow you to be a part of it without it handling you. That's why you got to be in your own fucking world. You got to create your own world. You can do what you want to do in your world, you know, but you cannot do what you want to do in everyone else's world because everyone else's world is dealing with how the world makes them think. Whereas you're separating yourself from the world so that you can think the way you should think or the way you want to think. Hey, bro, people are like animals in a sense. They have a herd mentality. So if they see one doing it, they're all going to do it. That's just how it goes. And otherwise, everyone is on getting game now. Whereas at one point, only the motherfuckers that wanted game was looking to get game. That's why the game stayed pure. But now you got so many fraudulent motherfuckers talking about they got game and they use words wrong and they use phrases wrong. So what they're doing is exposing people to all this false information. When I first came out to the game, would no motherfucker talk to you unless you show you was motherfucking qualified to get the information and that you had to do some shit. Let's say you out there green and you trying to get gamed up, you got to show them by something you do that you're worth fucking with, or else they're wasting their time because they're not trying to wake the dead up. They trying to, increase the motherfuckers that's woke knowledge. No, well, that's how you decide what you want to do. But what I'm saying is, uh, this person, you could tell if they're in the game by the way they dress and by the way they talk. So when you yeah, when you see this person, you automatically gravitate toward him. But you don't really ask no fucking questions because he's not gonna answer the questions and he's gonna turn off from you because you ask him questions. But if you want to get gamed up, you stay within earshot of this motherfucker and you ear hustle. That's how you get really gamed up, or you used to get gamed up. Now motherfuckers tell you like me, I'm telling you shit. Whereas before you had to ear hustle to get that game. That means be close enough to hear what they talking about, what they saying. And you got to pull from what they saying what's applying to you. That's how you get recognized as having game. And the motherfuckers with game will fuck with you because you show you might not have as much game as them, but you got enough game to get gamed up. They're not wasting their time. Yeah, they're not wasting their time talking to you. That's what it's about, bro. That's what it's about. Not acting, not faking, being yourself. And the reason those guys, you see the same shoes, the same haircut, is because the average motherfucker don't have an identity. They don't care to distinguish themselves. They want to be just like everybody else. That's why the average motherfucker would walk up and talk to a broad. Soon as he start talking, she turns off from him because she can hear he sounds like everybody else. That's why I teach my students to learn how to talk to a broad. Don't just talk at her. You say shit like, girl, you fine. I mean, that shit ain't that's talking at her. That's not talking to her. If you like something about her, you need to indicate what that is and talk about that. I'm not saying that's what you do when you go to talk to a woman. I'm saying if you're talking and you end up liking something about this woman, you talk about that, but you don't generalize that statement because at that point you're talking at her and you're not talking to her. When you keep it really individualized as far as your conversation, it makes her feel like you're talking to her and not just any woman. That's the way you got to think, man. Did you have a particular question you was going to ask? Well, wait, man. In that instance, you're talking about the at work, but you know that you have to be at work, and you know that if you're not a certain way at work, you're gonna have problems. So when you're speaking, hey, hold on. When you're speaking to a motherfucker and you really don't want to speak, but you at work and you're acting more pleasant than not, you're being honest with yourself because you know you have to be this way at work because you don't the company. You're being totally honest because you're only doing this shit at work. You ain't doing this when you go to the bar. You ain't doing this when you see people publicly. You're not bowing down to them. That's when you can be you when you're in your world. But if you have a job, you're not in your world for 8 hours of the day. You're in their world. You got to do it in order to keep your job, and you want to keep your livelihood. So you're being totally honest with yourself. Because if you didn't do it, you wouldn't have a job. So you want your job, so you got to do it. The honest thing is to do it. You're only holding yourself back if you're thinking about it in the wrong way. That's why you have to consciously correct your thinking. So you should not think when you at work, you shouldn't do the things that allow you to keep the job because you need the job. So, in order to be honest with yourself, get sharp and do what you need to do at work, but only do it at work. That ain't how you got to be when you just socializing. You can be how you want to be when you're socializing, but when you're working, even when you're socializing with some workmates, you can be who the fuck you really are. Man, fuck you, man. I don't want to hear that shit. You can't say that at work. I mean, you can't say it and let the wrong person hear it. Hey, dude, I feel better when I'm honest too. I've been at the store and the clerk gave me too much change and I didn't give it back. I'm not saying I'm that honest. I'm just saying, honesty is the best policy. That motherfucker that I gave that money back to told him he gave me too much. When I come in the store, I got carte blanche. So it works. It works for me too. And if you're being selfish and conceited and thinking about every goddamn thing selfishly and conceitedly, everything you do should be for you and your safety. Well, keeping the change, if it wasn't for you, would be stealing. And regardless of how you science on it, it's stealing. So don't want to be a thief. And if you could be a thief in this instance, you could be a thief in another instance. So you don't want to start something that you might not be able to stop. Hey man, this was good conversation, bro. I haven't talked to you before, it don't seem like, but you can call in anytime, bro. Seemed like I would remember your voice, but we didn't get this deep into the conversation when you called in because I would have remembered your voice. All right, bro. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for calling in. Hey, you guys, that's what you should do. If you have a view, a point of view, call in and express it. We could chop it up. I didn't agree with every fucking thing he said, but he didn't need me to agree with everything he was saying. He just really wanted to say it. which is what life is about. You don't need me to okay what you saying. You don't need nobody to okay what you saying. But if you saying something and somebody says the opposite, and you agree with the opposite, you just didn't think of it. Ain't nothing wrong with changing your opinion. You have to understand life is about you. Some people are okay with having a few pieces of the puzzle, and it only allows you to risk dying because these few pieces are the pieces you selected and you think it's enough, and it's not. If you don't get it all, you won't have enough. These videos and the abadabba that I spit to you, all are included at SWU. And if you see 5 of my videos, and they're titled Success, you'll see 5-hour-long videos with not totally different, but different information on the same subject. Because life has so many variations of one thing that you cannot make yourself believe there's one way to do shit. Caller, what's up? I'm good, man. Who is this? Paul? What's happening with you, bro? You've been shutting them down because you've been handling your business, huh? Okay, but Paul, I don't want to hear about your life. If you got something to talk about, cool. But I don't want to hear about your personal life because that's between you and whatever you're gonna do about it. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you updated me. Holler at me on the phone, man, so we can talk. Be cool, man. All right. Uh, you guys got to understand. 5 dudes with the same problem can solve that problem 5 different ways. You don't think like me, so you're not going to do what I would do. The only thing you're doing that I do is solving the problem. The way you solve it is up to what's comfortable for you. I might be a screamer or, talk all kind of shit, which I do. Caller, what's up? Oh shit, man. I thought I fixed that. Hey, thanks, bro. I gotta get, I can't do nothing about it. Next TV gotta do something. Thank thank you. Man, that's I've been going through this for I don't know. They charge a nigga $65 every month. And I can't get my shit right. People who've gone to Sidewalk University, they know to listen to my videos. They know that the topics may have a similar title, but it's so much game about any one particular subject that I could cover it for weeks. I'm expounding on whatever subject I'm talking on because we covered it in Sidewalk U. But I let them know we can only cover one or two points, but there's millions of points. So when you listen and hear different things, it doesn't change what you heard. It adds to what you heard. And you need to understand that. I spent a lot of time to detail what I couldn't detail in class. And, they couldn't hear me before Sidewalk U. But after getting the truth from me, they feel they're armed and they're ready for life. Sooner or later, you're going to realize me and Sidewalk University are your closest allies. Is there a time when you wouldn't want to be you? Is there ever a time you'll deny your existence? If I asked you, when is a lion not a lion? Long as you try to explain when a lion is not a lion, you're going to be wrong. No matter how much sense you try to make, your response is flawed on its premise. Because from birth, we should be bred to be as the lion is bred. Otherwise, to do as you please. I don't mean creating havoc and making life chaotic for everyone. Of course, that's what you would think when the motherfucker say something like do as you please. But what if a motherfucker controls his thoughts and don't want to do none of that stupid shit? See, what I'm saying is one person said a lion is not a lion when it's caged. Now, this is not true. Lions in zoos and in captivity are kept semi-drugged and well-fed. Period. They're still wild, but as long as a lion is well-fed, he's going to be happy to laze around all day. There is no such thing as kind of doing it. It's all or nothing. I remember when I was a young turnout, I saw Philmo Slim on the stroll, sitting in the trunk of his Fleetwood. Philmo was strumming on his guitar and he was singing a song that he was making up on the spot because it was about MacArthur Boulevard, the track in Oakland. As he was singing, I was standing there and admiring the fact that bitches would come by and throw money in the trunk. And then Philmo made this lyric up, Rosebud. I see you've been rolling by yourself. Pimping is a lonely game. If you're real about it, you can get the fortune and have all the fame. Man, I immediately knew he was talking directly to me. I must have been noticed by him. It didn't take me long to realize how deep his statement was, because once I started really pimping, I didn't want to be associated with just any motherfucker. A real motherfucker, as I became, wanted to be around nothing but top flight motherfucking niggas. Philmo was already in legendary status when I turned out. But the compliment he gave me, I would have missed if I wasn't down and dirty. It ain't easy being in the upper echelon of this Abba Dabba Q. If every motherfucker could do it, if they could all be top flight, it wouldn't be such a big thing to get in that ranking. But it is a big thing to be a real man. And you gotta get the message when an old G is kicking this abba dabba at it. See, you guys would miss most of the game because if it ain't directly targeted at you, you ain't paying attention to what you're hearing. Man, an OG ain't gonna tell you how to do shit. He just gonna tell you how shit is done. It's up to you to figure out exactly how what the fuck he's saying pertains to you. Get it or miss it. It's all on you. That's why at SWU is so important to be a student. Abadabba is very important to have. That's why so many of you motherfuckers front as if you have it until you get charged. Then you start looking for help. When the sharks are starting to surround you, never fear. Professor Rosebud and SWU are here. We'll prepare you for the race by making sure you get laced. Now, on another tip, this is a word to the wise. I know ever since I've been old enough to think, the white man had and still has a fear of black men that's not comparable with the fear of any other race of man. No man of any culture threatens a white man as black men do. The fear he have of black men's talent, brains, body, and wherewithal just simply frightens him. The only way they could contain us was by stripping everything away that we identified with. Don't let him hear us say we are the badass or the best in the field we're in. That just drives them crazy. They've realized they must kill us. And what's up, caller? I'm good, man. What's happening? Well, what are you doing? It is your fault. You work there. Yeah, man. You supposed. I don't mean you supposed to get in fights for the bitch, but I'm saying you supposed to be there to see. And what I'm saying is, if the bitch is fighting and you call out, look here, whatever your name is, and you tell her you ain't having that kind of shit. The bitch that's fighting her gonna back up too. Why? Cause the man is there. Bitches do that shit cause they just bitches. But if her man would have came, your bitch would have stopped, and if you would have came, that other nigga's bitch would have stopped. Why? Because they gonna respect the nigga. If you got respect in the streets, you got your respect. You sound like you scared. Yeah, but you picked her up and took her home. What'd you do? Yeah, but you didn't put her back down. Check this, bro. You got to call and get some coaching because you got particular problems, and I everybody that's listening ain't trying to hear this shit. So me and you got to talk privately. Hit me up, man. 818-605-2815. 605-2815. Be cool. All right. Let me explain what I'm talking about. They tried caging us. Caller, what's up? I'm cool, man. What's happening? I don't think it's weird, but I do know what you're saying. And you must be damn near not my age, but you got to be close to what, 40, 50? Okay. What I'm saying is you still young, but my point is a lot of these cats missed getting educated as they grew up and to turn into men. Their older brothers or uncles or dads was in the joint. So many motherfuckers didn't have the proper, as far as, I don't know if you did because you're kind of young, but when I was young, if OG heard me say, "Man, I'm scared," scared to talk to that bitch, he'd slap me upside my head and say, "Man, get your ass over there and say something to that motherfucking woman. She's just a broad. He ain't gonna tell me what to say, but he gonna tell me what to do. And if I didn't want to look like a little punk, I would walk over there and say something to her. 9 out of 10 times, that's all you had to do. Hey, bro, man, you got stuff going on, so handle your business, man. Hey, man, I ain't got time to talk to a motherfucker that's talking to somebody else in their ear. Period. The question I asked earlier about a lion, another person said when the lion loses his dominance, he's no longer a lion. Caller, what's up? I'm good. What about you? Liars in the workplace. No, man, I don't do that shit. No, I handle liars at work the same way I handle liars in the streets. Fuck them. I don't fuck with them. If you partner on the project, you said something to the motherfucker about lying. What did you tell him? Hey, man, you being the police. You being the police talking about what he ain't supposed to have. It. He worked there just like you. So if he, want to break the rule, that's on him. That's what I would do. Fuck him and fuck what he doing. I would let him know if the shit get me in some trouble, motherfucker, I'm giving you up. I'd let a motherfucker know, but I wouldn't be the police in there. Well, you talking about no, but that's what you being. I don't give a fuck if you went to him. You telling him you the police. That's why he probably didn't want to hear what you were saying. Don't nobody want to hear that police shit. If a motherfucker work wherever he work and he taking a chance on whatever he taking a chance on, that shit is on him. That shit ain't got nothing to do with you. And you ain't supposed to be the peacekeeper or whatever the fuck you call yourself. What the fuck you call yourself doing? What do you call yourself doing? I didn't ask you none of that. I want to know what you call yourself doing. Telling him you ain't supposed to have that. You don't like violence. Oh, you don't like liars. Well, bro, you gotta understand. Just because you don't like liars, don't mean liars ain't no lie. So you gotta learn how to deal with hearing a lie. If it ain't concerning you and it's not jeopardizing your job, fuck what he's saying and fuck caring about what he's saying. You ain't trying to get that motherfucker in trouble and you ain't trying to get no motherfucking enemies. What you talking about to do both of those things? Why you so quiet? Why does it take you so long to think? Why does it take you so long to think? Yeah, man, you need to come to my school. You need to come to my school so you'll learn how to think fast. You think fast by trusting yourself. You trust yourself, and you know you can trust yourself when you stop lying about shit to yourself. Period, man. You know, motherfucker talking that shit you talking is the police. So why you don't think he should think of you as the police? Well, let that motherfucker know that if the shit do blow up on you, you giving his ass up. Yeah, be cool, bro. Hey, so I asked, when is a lion not a lion? And the cat say when he loses dominant position in the pride. What I'm saying is that's not true because even in old age, when, when a challenge arises as best he can, this old lion's aggression is going to rise to the occasion. He may be old, but by him being dominant at one time, he has respect. Believe me, the younger lions or the lionesses ain't gonna let shit come, ain't gonna let no harm come to him. Not from an outsider lion. Now, when the lion gets old and knows his time as a dominant motherfucker is coming to an end, he's not gonna hand his crown over. Even in defeat, he's still a lion. Only now he can rest, and the pride accepts that he earned his rest. His respect and prestige is still evident. He just don't get first dibs on the lioness anymore. He can't fuck first. He might not even want to fuck no more. In life, you're gonna be faced with all kind of adversarial situations. But just as a lion does, you face each situation as the king of beasts does. Face them with no doubt in your mind. And as far as the lion goes, only the most committed lion will risk all to get what he has come to believe is his to claim, just as only the most committed man will strive for the status of being a pimp. That's how it's supposed to be. But now you have motherfuckers that just want to be a pimp because they lazy. They just think women give them pimps money. Pimps pimp for their money. If you don't know what pimping is, and you think all you got to do is get paid like this nigga that just called in, what I'm saying is you in for a surprise because that ain't what it's about. Motherfuckers get paid for pimping. When we had problems, white people would sit back and hope we kill each other over it. In the streets I'm from, we let our abadabba outshine the person who we got beef with. We didn't go look for this motherfucker so we can kill him or do harm to him. We went and looked for his ass to embarrass his fucking ass with the fly shit I just did. We knew the Popo wanted us to go to war so they could shut us down. And when that shit didn't work, the Popo decided to use that safety phrase of "I feared for my life" and killing you behind it. He's already afraid of you, and now he got to accept you ain't giving a fuck about him or his authority. You gotta die. Fellas, don't give those motherfuckers any reason to paint you with a brush that ain't hardly you. You gotta stay safe. That's one of the benefits of being the way I'm explaining. You're so fucking selfish. All you think about is your safety. It won't take you long to make any decision because you trust yourself. Ask any of my alumni how long it takes me to answer any question they may have. I will never take longer than a second or two to answer any question. Women lie in wait to see a man stand up, and when they do see that motherfucker with no problem letting other women know he knows his value, they cream. It's important for you to show any woman your value as best as you can. It's also important to make sure what you say has meaning to what you believe, and never make promises you don't intend on keeping. Even if you have a woman, you got to check your moves regularly. Make sure all your moves are manly. Throughout the entire relationship, it's important to have being a man at the forefront of your daily thoughts. As you grow into being the real you, it allows different thoughts to occupy your mind. If your passion is strong enough, being a man will require you to stand on principles that you've adopted into your life. These are principles you made up, you see as necessary to keep you in line. Except that you should represent those principles at all times. Lionesses lounge around and watch what the lions do, just as the ladies will sit and watch your moves to judge if they should give you some action. This is a reason to feel your own stage, and everyone's watching. The things I tell you, you're always on stage, includes things like this that I probably didn't mention when I tell you you're on stage. But you don't know who the fuck is looking at you. Being this way allows you to never settle. Most of you have settled on whatever woman gives you action. You got to stop settling for the woman that's fifth or sixth on your goddamn list. My arsenal is so dope, and my conversation flows because it's based on what I see and what I think in the moment. My course has great value for you if you use it. If you can take an honest inventory of yourself and say you're confident, then so be it. Ask yourself this: if you're confident, why do you listen to my videos ritually? My course outlines simple directives for you to follow to excel. If you study and follow instructions, you will overcome fear within your first couple of weeks. I know because I lived and thrived off the methods I'm sharing with you. The main reason I don't accept your silly analogies about this abadabba is your manhood is in the air. It's in the air because you didn't get the real information on being a man passed down to you as we did. You got to come to grips with women can't teach young boys how to be men, no matter what their intentions are. So you guys that grew up with your mother, I'm not talking about your mother. I ain't saying she ain't shit. I'm saying she's a woman and she's gonna think like a woman. She's gonna grow you up to be light on girls. You know, she's gonna make you turn the other cheek, so to say. Fuck that. Rappers are fake and can't teach you anything but how to fake like they do. You're gonna realize to get respect from today's woman, you gotta be confident you're showing that woman a man of commitment. It's easy to scream out how confident you are. And right after you do, a fine woman walks past you and you don't say shit. Even if you don't do what I say, there's only one way to be a man. You got to be committed to the principles of manhood. You got to take care of business as if your very existence depended on it. Because it does. You guys today have it rough, but you don't have it so rough that you got to lie down and be walked on by women that you have desires for. Do you want to know why you feel so worthless you'll accept the demeaning traits in women? It's because you have no identity and you're lost. That's where you need a better understanding of your value to women. Have you checked out where you think women see value in the males pursuing them? You mean you haven't taken note to what turns a woman on? It's so much you guys don't think about when it comes to how to intrigue a woman. Some of it is because you don't take your mind off sex long enough to see what intrigues or infatuate women. I'm a firm believer that if you need today's social media or think you can read to get your action, you're gonna have a hard time. Because I ain't saying you shouldn't read or frequent social media. It's important to know how to comprehend things, especially what you read. My point is if you need those things to elevate your dating game, let's face it, you don't really have any dating game in the goddamn first place. Evaluate yourself honestly. It's essential if you want to gain poise when you're getting ready for dating. You need to assess your true ability and make an honest evaluation. The info you need isn't going to be found in any book. Not a book that you can read or not a book that you frequent. It cannot be found. You need to assess your true ability and make an honest evaluation. It ain't going to be found in no book. It's going to be found in the book you create. You create this book from your exploits with dating. Reading about someone's ideas on catching women ain't gonna improve your chances one iota. That's why what you read so far hasn't done anything for your catch hand. If you want to improve on catching, you got to speak to lots and lots of women. If you were a novice, would you try to become a sharpshooter and not use a lot of bullets practicing? Don't make what I'm don't mistake what I'm getting at. Reading does have a fundamental value, and that's about all it has. And especially when it comes to dating. Go on and read different material about life and the joys of living it because you do want to be well versed. It's not a bad thing you don't know exactly what to do on the date, let alone what to say. But it is a bad thing to not do anything about it. You certainly don't want to be a dummy. I'm not a dummy. I'm an A student. And in all my years of schooling, I got 2 C's, 4 B's, and over 88 A's. What you need to understand is none of that means shit when it comes to catching a woman. She could care less what your GPA is or was when you was in school. Women only care about what your knowledge of women is. You only need what you're thinking about when it comes to elevating your dating game, which means you need to think correctly if you want to elevate your thoughts. I think it's important to read, especially if you want to have a vast knowledge of written material. What good will knowing the radius of a circle do you when it comes to talking to a woman? By the way, did you know it's not what you say, it's how you say it that really matters to her? What I'm saying is, you cannot expect to read upon any real ways for you to get at women. There are exceptions, but they're few and far between. One of the reasons reading won't help you is because that's all many of you are going to do. You simply going to read it and expect something to occur because you read it. You're not going to implement what you read into your activities. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because if you want to know how to catch a woman, you better deal with lots of women every day. No, I'm telling you this, and I mean this. I'm not demanding it. I just know that if you deal with a lot of women every day, you're going to have a vast knowledge of women in a month, in 2 months. The best way to elevate your abadabba is deal with hundreds of women each month. I used to speak to over 100 women every few days, and within a week I might get real action from 5 or 6. And of those, I might catch one. Now I don't even want to imagine the odds. If you do the math, you see I was dealing with 20 to 30 women a day and may only catch one a week, if that. Here's what you're overlooking. At the ratio I'm going at, if I catch one a month, that's going to be 12 in a year. Of those 12, all may leave, but there's one thing for sure. They all aren't going to stay. That's why you don't like either one of them until it's been a few months they've been paying you. Each one. Not that you've been getting paid a few months. You meet this one in May, you don't really like her until October. Those are not bad odds when you think about how long you're going to be doing this shit. And since most women you catch are going to be gone in a week or two, You look to have 2 or 3 bras that you fucking with at the end of the year. You don't learn this kind of stuff by reading shit. You can only get up on this kind of stuff by going out, getting off your ass, going out and messing with men. You don't want to sound like a nerd or look like a bookworm when you're out. That's all reading is going to do for you. And what we learn to do at SWU is accept that real knowledge is what you learn in pursuit of your craft, which in our case is catching. You won't catch a woman worth 2 cents with big vocabulary. Facebook and other media type women will be impressed with big words, but that's because their media image is fake. What they believe about themselves is fake, but they accept it, hoping you'll accept it too. There's no sentence you can read and memorize to use it on a female to make her magically get interested in you. I know you guys are not slow, so you need to know I'm saying the only weapon you have or need is you. You are your most powerful weapon in this war with society. At SWU, we learn to recognize within the first few minutes if you should stay and talk to baby or not. We learn this because those who don't learn it get charged for guessing. You can't deal with a social media type woman and expect her to be real when you meet her. If you do meet up with her, you need to establish almost immediately that what you liked about her was in her photo. But this is only if she looks like her photos. You got to be sure to let her know you think talk is cheap. And what you've done is just drawing a line in the sand, letting her know you don't play around. And if she gets real with you, you can follow your action. You need to establish quite quickly that you don't play, so you don't waste your time. If she's looking good as what you saw in her pics, you should care less. You should be thinking, I know I'm capable of having 5 women that's fine or finer than her at the same time. You need a firm mentality like this. And you get that and more at Sidewalk University. You need the attitude you're worth far too much to spend 1 second longer talking to her than it takes you to see she ain't what you want. Make sure you let her see you're not impressed with how fine she is or what she said on her page. You want to deal with what she's saying now. You got to tell her you're the kind of man who likes to discover his own impressions of a woman. Remember, everything needs to have a mental time limit, or you'll find yourself chasing a ghost. Women don't like to be rushed, but if you allow them to dilly-dally around, you'll find that you've wasted your time dealing with her schedule. The way to catch women is to keep them on your time schedule. You'll really make a splash with her if she sees you getting bored with her goddamn conversation, especially if you indicate you about to leave. They'll wonder, who is this dude? You probably don't believe me, but what I'm telling you is the truth. Have you ever thought any of these things that I'm talking about? These things about dating? I have, and women love a man when he values his time that's on his mind. The time on his mind over the bullshit she has to offer. I have, and I'm sure you have too, experienced a woman who wants to talk about everything except what you want to talk about. And I vowed early in my career to never get caught up in a situation like that again. What I'm speaking about It's how you got to perceive yourself. You got to perceive yourself a certain way if you want a woman to see you or value in you as a man. I come at women far off from what I determine they like. I do that because it's one of the ways that I take control of the conversation. The way I speak, the command I have of the conversation makes her ideas take a back seat to where I'm coming from. And that helps her to accept what I'm saying. I don't trip on a woman that much. I mix my conversation with chivalry and boldness. I'm fully involved with being myself. After all, I know who really catches her. You guys think asking me something might help you catch her. No. As I'm saying some bold things I intend on accomplishing, I'm also letting her know she don't want to deal with me, so fucking what? Then I'll let her know it'll be her loss. My experience with this scenario is that the woman's gonna call me later in the month or later in the year, and it doesn't matter when she calls me, because once I leave the conversation, I ain't waiting on her. Most of you want to know the best way to catch a broad, and the cold part about it, you won't do what it is because you won't believe it. But I'll tell you, the best way to catch any broad is to be upfront with her from the get go. The more you make her guess what you're up to, the more you allow her to make herself leery of you. Telling her the truth most times will result in a less than happy reaction. But if she doesn't tell you to fuck off, you in the game. I'm a catch magnet, and I know how to have the right type of conversation for whomever I'm going to meet. Whoever is next, Betty, Barbara, Carol, Misty, I could give a hoot who she is. I'm ready to catch her now. You shouldn't need a certain type of woman for you to be at her. No certain race, no certain height, no dime, or any of that kind of nonsense. The only requirement should be she is a woman whom is available. Right here is where most of you start failing because you're looking for a certain kind of woman. You don't know who this woman is or what she looks like or where she'll be. And that, my friends, is why you never meet her. Now, if you were looking for the next woman, if she's a 10 or not, you would catch in a week or two. And after 2 weeks of being around you, she started taking better care of her looks, and voila, you've created your own team. Talking about yourself and your goals is going to transform her into a confident woman. And she'll appreciate you for a lifetime. She's going to stay with you because of what you did for her mindset concerning herself. And what's beautiful to her is she was a plain Jane in a city full of women who knew how to dick tease a motherfucker to death. And now, because you've shown her how not only to dick tease if she wanted to, but you've shown her how she don't even have to think like that. Now when she thinks of herself, she thinks she's the woman all those pretenders are faking to be. She'll feel she owes it all to you, but of course she doesn't owe you shit except her loyalty. I know I'm raw when I explain this shit to you, but you need this shit spoon fed sometimes. And it got to come at you full force, even though I'm spoon feeding you. It's got to come full force to penetrate that armor you have. If I was you, I would start trying to see how I could embrace the things you're hearing. Think about the arsenal I told you about. Today, we're talking about you understanding your value. Do you know what an arsenal will do for your value to a woman when you speak to her? First, When you have an arsenal, it's because you've learned and you know when you say something to her, you're kind of gonna know what the fuck her response will be. Of course, you didn't program her, so she's not gonna respond exactly the way you expect. But expecting something is preparation for any response because you're thinking. Let's say you've been speaking to her for a few minutes and you realize she's giving you big action. Remember, you done already said a few things that has laid the groundwork for you. You done told her some of the things you wanted, and she responded in a positive manner, which is an indication you can have her. You know what you should do now? You need to tell her you got to take care of some business. You can tell if she really likes you or not by the way she responds to you telling her you need to go. It's like the takeaway in sales. You must think like a salesman when you're dealing with women. When a salesman see a customer on the fence about a decision, he simply tells the customer something to disqualify him from the deal. And the best way to do that is to take it off the table. I told you all, you need to be men on a mission when it comes to speaking with a woman. You're supposed to want her to come with you, and your whole conversation is to that end. Or what's the use in talking to her? You're not, continually talking about sex, but the things you're saying to her about yourself are turning her on. I got hella tools for you to develop an alluring conversation that will be centered on you and totally sexual in nature. There's things to say to women I share with you in some of the videos, some of the tools that will not directly ask her to come with you for sex, but they will tell her that's the kind of dude you are. I also provide things to say that will let her know you're not budging from your man position just to have her. Now here's the scenario along the line I was speaking of. You're kicking it with a woman when she tell you no, you're kicking it with a woman when you tell her you're getting ready to leave in a few. And what you're doing here is looking for her to ask you to stay. Or best case scenario, she wants to come with you. If there's no response from you, you got to notice her demeanor. And you see if she's sad about you leaving, but she's accepting it. She can be accepting it and happy she met you, or she can be upset but not know what to do. Any one of these responses means she wants you to stay, and she's close to admitting that to you. You should be good and comfortable with sitting and speaking with her now because you've already let her know you want her ass. Of course, you're still playing your hand, but now you're comfortable enough to let her know if she wants to, she can roll with you. If it gets to this point, very seldom will you miss. Even if she says she wants to come with you, you got to keep in mind, you got to keep playing your hand. You got to sound as cordial and as inviting as possible and tell her with a big smile, I would love to let you come with me, but you don't look like you can stand what I have in store for you. Then you say something like, I know I already told you I wanted to ravish you, and I do. I know you guys think this is coming on strong. It is. I've had women come to me off of the strength I displayed when I wanted. See, if you mention this shit to her in the beginning of the convo, it really isn't strong, or she wouldn't be sitting here. It started simmering in her head the moment you mentioned it. If she hesitates, just say, I wanted you to know what I wanted to do. That don't mean that's what you want to do. I'm just making sure you know what I want. You don't be afraid to establish this kind of shit. With the way things are today, You can't get her to sign no fucking contract before you take her with you. So at least have a verbal agreement. You see, I want strong women who can handle the truth. And any woman who wants to go with me after the things I say, I know all they need is a little show and tell in the bed. And once we're on our way to my car, my confidence in how I come at her will catch the woman who wasn't intending on being caught tonight. Hey, you guys called in a lot. That was cool. But I'm out.